So in today's video, we're going to be talking about the Aputure MX. Now, recently I was contacted by Aputure and they asked me if I wanted to review their MX light. And even though they did send this light to me, I'm not being paid or forced to say anything that I don't want to say. So this is going to be my honest and unbiased opinion about this light. So what I kind of wanted to do was put together a couple of lighting setups and just use the Aputure MX as my main key light. And even in the shot that you're seeing me in right now, I am being lit by the Aputure MX. I do have my umbrella that I use for a lot of my other lights, but I am being lit by one very small battery powered LED light, which is pretty cool. Another pretty cool feature about this MX light is that it is a bicolor light. Typically with bicolor lights, like one temperature is a lot brighter than the other one, but I haven't found that to be true with this MX. It actually retains its brightness between both of the colors, which I think is pretty cool. And it's also just very small, and yet it packs a lot of power in such a small little size. Now, the build quality of the Aputure MX is second to none, basically. It's a absolute tank of a little light, and it basically, you can adjust the color temperature and dim it ever so slightly, and you can also do a little boost where it kind of boosts the intensity. But overall, it's a pretty straightforward little product. It's about 150 bucks on Amazon, and it is kind of like an updated version to their really popular M9 light. So I created a couple of scenes using just basically this little Aputure MX, as well as some practicals that are in my apartment and also just natural light outside. And I kind of wanted to see just how much you could do with a small little light like this, because I feel like a lot of the time you might think that you need, a really big light with a huge softbox to get a really nice, pleasant looking light, or have a crazy, Fresnel lens on it with a bunch of different cookies and stuff like that in order to create different effects. But you actually don't. With just a little bit of creativity, you can create a lot of different effects with just one small light like this Aputure MX. So for this first shot, when I'm kind of waking up in my bed and checking my phone, I basically just used the Aputure MX and then just the light from my phone. And the way that I got it to look like it was sun coming through the blinds was I turned it to a warmer color temperature, so it kind of like mimic how the sun looks like either late in the evening or early in the morning. And basically I went to my local dollar store and I got some black foam core, and I just cut out this little kind of flag system for the MX light with just a little bit of gaff tape here to hold it on. And then I actually took just some ends of a paper bag and I cut them up and I just put it over the front, and that kind of created a little cookie, as it were, and the light just shines through there and it creates the effect of like blinds. So super cheap. It cost me like $1, and I mean, you have to pay for the gaff tape too, I guess, but you could use, duct tape or whatever kind of tape you wanted to. But yeah, just using something as simple as this, you can create a really simple effect if you want to try to get some controlled light to mimic the light coming through blinds. So that's how I did the first shot. For the tea shot, where I'm pouring water into my mug and making tea, I just had the exact same setup, except I took the cookie off. So I took this little piece of cardboard off, and I just used this little DIY flag system to just flag off the light so it wasn't spilling everywhere, and I just pointed it right at where the steam was gonna come out. So what I really wanted to do for that shot was just accentuate the steam coming out of the mug when I poured the hot water. So I mean, it's not a really, you could do that with basically any light, but the fact that the light is so small and I can get it into a lot of different places and even put it on a table, just use something super cheap like this to block out a lot of the light that spills, and you can just focus in your light exactly where you want it. And so for this instance, I just wanted to focus straight on the steams. So I went out to the woods and I kind of tested this Aputure MX against a other much cheaper small pocket size LED, and I just kind of wanted to see how much brighter this Aputure MX light was in comparison to cheaper but similarly sized light. And you can see right here the difference between a cheaper LED light that's around the same size as the MX and then the Aputure MX light. Inside the box you do get a frost diffusion panel as well as a really heavy diffusion panel if you don't want as harsh of light, and these just magnetically clip right onto the front of the light. So that's pretty cool. You also get this really nice carrying case. It has a little carabiner, so you could just hook it onto the back of your backpack. Pretty sweet. It also comes with a USB charging cable and a small ball head as well. So I feel like indoor situations like this, having an Aputure MX light on a light stand with an umbrella doesn't really make much sense, because you could just buy a much cheaper light and plug it straight into wall power, and you could probably have a much more convenient and simple lighting setup. So let's do something with this Aputure MX that you couldn't do with the light that you would have to plug into a wall outlet. So let's go somewhere and use this as a key light where you wouldn't normally have wall power and you would need something that's actually run off of a battery. So as some of you know, I film a lot of skateboarding, and having this little Aputure MX light to film skateboarding with is actually really nice. I have it here on this little top handle rig that I use for filming skateboarding a lot. Yeah, this works out really well when I'm filming fisheye shots. With fisheyes, basically everything is in focus, and they're not typically the widest aperture lenses, so you have to have a little bit more light than you normally would with a prime lens. So having this aperture light is really nice for filming lines or just filming, you know, nice close-up fisheye shots, because it just bounces a little bit more light on your subject. All right, so I'm out here in nature, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to set up a really simple interview style shot with just this cheap light stand, an umbrella, and of course my Aputure MX, which is my backpack. So I just kind of want to demonstrate how you can set up a really nice looking interview style shot regardless of whether you have a power source or not, because the little Aputure MX runs off of its own battery. So this is obviously an extreme example. Not everyone's gonna need to bring a key light out into the middle of nowhere, but I just wanted to demonstrate that you can do it with the little Aputure MX, and it's really easy since it's so lightweight. All right, so here I am, lit up with the Aputure MX light with the umbrella to keep it nice and soft. And I'm out here in a really pretty part of Oregon. And as you can see, it gets bright enough to create some nice soft light on your face. And I think that's one thing that is, you know, pretty cool about little lights like this, is that you can get creative with them and, you know, use them for purposes that maybe they weren't really designed for, which I always think is kind of cool. So real quick, I'm just gonna show you what this shot would look like if I wasn't lit with this Aputure MX. So as you can see, this shot isn't horrible. It's not like I'm super underexposed, but I think that the shot before looked way better. Just a little bit of a kick of light onto your face can really just add a little something extra to a shot like this. So let me turn it back on. But yeah, all in all, I've been really impressed with this little Aputure MX. I feel like what you'll find with the majority of Aputure products is, even though they're a bit more expensive than the like ultra cheap competitors, you're gonna see a difference in quality, not only in the build construction, but also in the light output and the light quality as well. So yeah, I would definitely say that if you're in the market for a small pocket-sized LED that you can actually do a lot of things with because it is really bright, I would definitely recommend looking into this little Aputure MX, and chances are you're probably never going to need to buy a little small pocket-sized LED light again, because this thing is an absolute tank. But yeah, I think that's all I have for this video. If you enjoyed it, it'd be really cool if you hit the like button, and be sure to subscribe to my channel if you enjoy this kind of content. And yeah, there's links in the description to a bunch of gear that I use and recommend, and those are affiliate links, so if you buy from those, it really helps out my channel. Thank you so much for watching. There's gonna be other videos and playlists right here that you can click on, and until next time, I'll see you all later. Bye.